Absolutely. Here's a bold, intense, no-nonsense speech titled How to Never Be Broke Again, written in the style of Andrew Tate, direct, confrontational, motivational, and unapologetically alpha. It does not mention him by name, but captures his tone and philosophy. Time is your most valuable asset. Not money, not talent, not connections. Time, you can lose money and make it back. You can ruin relationships and repair them, but once a second ticks by, it's gone forever. You'll never get it back, no matter how rich, smart, or connected you become. That's why broke people and millionaires wake up with the same 24 hours, but their results are light, years apart. It's not about how much time you have, it's how you use it. The truth is, most people don't value their time because they don't value themselves. They live on autopilot, waiting for weekends, living for Friday nights, and dreading Monday mornings. That's not a life, that's a countdown to death. The average person wastes hours every day on activities that do absolutely nothing to improve their future. Scrolling social media, binge, watching shows, playing video games, gossiping, arguing about politics online. None of it brings in income, builds skills, or creates opportunities. And yet people act like they're victims when their life doesn't change. No, you're not a victim, you're a volunteer. You've volunteered to waste your most precious resource on distractions, on comfort, on laziness. You can't complain about being broke, unhappy, or stuck if you're not doing everything in your power to use your time with purpose. Every hour you waste is an hour someone else is using to get ahead of you, training harder, learning faster, building something that will pay them forever. If you want to win in life, you have to become violent about how you protect your time. Cut off anything and anyone that drains it. That includes people who bring drama, conversations that lead nowhere, and habits that keep you mentally weak. Time is not something you spend, it's something you invest. Every action you take should be filtered through one question: does this move me closer to the life I want? If the answer is no, you cut it. Ruthlessly, because the cost of distraction is far greater than the price of discipline. The man who wastes an hour every day loses 365 hours a year. That's over 15 full days, 2 weeks of your life gone for nothing. And most people waste far more than that. There's a reason successful people are obsessive about time management. They track it, they plan it, they guard it like a dragon guards treasure, because they understand that success is a game of compounded focus. Every productive hour stacks on top of the last one. It's momentum. When you consistently put your hours into the right places, learning, creating, networking, building, you start to pull ahead, not by miles at first, but by inches. Then it snowballs. That's when you look around and realize the people you used to hang out with are still talking about the same things, still broke, still lost, while you're on a completely different level. That's not luck, that's strategy, that's using your time like a weapon. You don't need to be a genius, you don't need to be born rich, but you do need to take your time seriously. Every successful person you admire did one thing right. They made better use of their time than everyone around them. While others were partying, they were learning. While others were relaxing, they were building. While others were busy being entertained, they were busy getting paid. It's not complicated, but it's hard. Because discipline is hard, consistency is hard, saying no to pleasure in the short term for power in the long term is hard, but that's what separates winners from losers, what you're willing to suffer for. Your life will be built from the hours you put into it or the hours you waste. There is no middle ground. Wake up earlier, cut the noise, make a plan for your day, execute that plan like your life depends on it, because it does. Stop giving away hours to people who haven't earned them. Stop giving time to tasks that don't reward you. Create strict boundaries. If you work for yourself, structure your day like a military operation. If you work a job, use every free moment to build your escape plan. Read, write, network, build a side hustle, learn a high-income skill, work out, train your mind and your body like your future is on the line. Because it is. Most people will never be rich because they don't treat time as if it's expensive. They treat it like it's free, but if time was something you had to buy, they'd finally understand its value. You've got dreams, great. You've got goals, good. Now show me your calendar. Show me how you spend your time, and I'll tell you exactly where you're going to end up. The man who controls his time controls his life. He becomes dangerous, unstoppable, uncontrollable, because he's no longer reacting to the world. He's creating his own. You want to get out of the rat race. Start by dominating your hours. You want to build wealth. Start by managing your time like an investment portfolio. Every second either grows your future or robs from it. The clock is ticking. Right now, someone somewhere is using this exact moment to change their life. While you're reading this, someone else is grinding, planning, working. That's not meant to discourage you. It's a challenge. It's a wake-up call. You don't get another life. You don't get a redo. This is it. And if you waste it, that's on you. So stop acting like time is cheap. Start treating it like the most valuable currency you have, because it is. Mastering one high-income skill is the fastest, most reliable way to break out of the cycle of mediocrity and take full control of your financial future. In a world flooded with distractions, misinformation, and people chasing 10 different goals and achieving none, the individual who focuses relentlessly on mastering a single, valuable skill becomes a weapon. Too many people spread themselves thin. They dabble, they try one thing, fail in a week, switch to another, lose focus, get distracted, scroll endlessly, and then complain that success is out of reach. It's not out of reach. It's just not something you can touch with lazy hands. Real results demand real depth. Mastery is the game, and mastery starts with choosing one skill and going all in. A high-income skill is any ability that can generate serious money independently of a traditional job. It doesn't require a degree, a boss, or permission. It just requires competence and consistent delivery of value. Examples include copywriting, sales, digital marketing, trading, programming, high-ticket closing, public speaking, consulting, or video production. The actual skill you choose isn't the most important part. What matters is that it meets 3 criteria: it pays well, it scales, and it's in demand. Once you lock in on a skill like that, the only thing standing between you and massive income is your level of execution. The reason mastering one skill is so effective is because the world pays experts, not generalists. It doesn't matter how many things you know a little about if none of them are world-class. People don't pay for average. They pay for solutions, speed, and precision, and that only comes from depth. When you become so good at one thing that you can solve people's problems better, faster, and more effectively than anyone else, you don't chase money. Money chases you. Your time becomes expensive. Your value becomes undeniable. You don't have to beg for clients or jobs. People seek you out. That's the power of being a master. The key to getting there is obsession, not interest. Not curiosity, obsession. You have to want to be the best. You have to wake up thinking about your craft and go to sleep analyzing your progress. Every book you read, every video you watch, every conversation you have should revolve around getting better at your skill. Cut out distractions. Unfollow anything that isn't helping you grow. You don't have time for noise. You need to immerse yourself in your craft like your life depends on it. Because if financial freedom is your goal, then it actually does. Most people give up on skills too early because they don't see instant results. They try something for 2 weeks, don't make any money, and decide it doesn't work. But the truth is, you don't deserve to make money from something you barely understand. You have to pay your dues. You have to eat dirt in the beginning. That's how mastery works. It starts with struggle, confusion, frustration, but if you keep pushing, the skill starts to click. You move from conscious effort to unconscious excellence. That's when the real money starts rolling in, but only if you stay long enough to reach that level. When you master a high-income skill, you also become dangerous in the job market, in business, and in life. You're no longer reliant on anyone. You can pack up and move to a new city, new country, or new industry and still make money. You have leverage, and in this world, leverage is everything. The more leverage you have, the more freedom you have. You're not living paycheck to paycheck, praying your boss gives you a raise. You create your own economy. You set your own price. You work with who you want when you want. That's not a dream. That's a direct result of mastering one powerful skill. The journey to mastery requires structure and discipline. You can't wing it. You need a plan. Find the best resources, books, mentors, courses, communities. Consume with purpose, not passively. Practice every single day. Don't just learn, apply, build a portfolio, create results, track your progress, push your limits. Every time you hit a wall, don't quit, break through it. That's how you build mental toughness and skill dominance at the same time. The goal isn't just to know the skill, it's to own it, to be so good at it that nobody in your space can compete with you on quality, speed, or impact. Don't worry about monetization in the beginning. That comes later. The first step is to be elite. When you get results that speak for themselves, people will throw money at you. Whether you turn your skill into a business, freelance service, or use it to climb the corporate ladder doesn't matter. The income will come as long as your skill is real and rare. And here's the best part. Once you master one skill, learning others becomes easier. You've built the process. You've trained your brain to focus. That same energy can now be applied to multiplying income streams, building systems, and scaling up. But never make the mistake of trying to do everything at once. That's the trap. You see someone online making money with e-commerce, another with crypto, another with coaching, and you want to try it all. Don't. That's how amateurs think. Masters pick one lane, dominate it, and only then expand. Focus creates power, distraction destroys it. Stay locked in until you can look in the mirror and say, I'm elite at this. Not decent, not above average, elite, that's the standard, and don't wait for permission. No one is going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you it's time to be great. No one is going to hand you money because you have potential. You have to decide right now that you're done being average. That you're done dabbling, that you're done being broke, lost, or stuck. Pick your skill, commit, and grind. Every hour you waste is money you'll never make. Every excuse you make is another day you stay poor. Life doesn't care about your feelings. The market doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. Mastery is the only thing that guarantees those results. In the end, mastering one high-income skill is not just about money. It's about power. It's about independence. It's about proving to yourself that you have what it takes to be exceptional in a world that celebrates mediocrity. Stop trying to be everywhere. Stop chasing quick fixes. Pick your weapon, sharpen it daily, and carve out your place in the world with it. That's how you build a life no one can take from you. That's how you make sure you never go broke again. Discipline is the foundation of all success, while motivation is just a fleeting emotion. Motivation feels good, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. One day you're fired up and ready to conquer the world. The next day you're tired, distracted, or just not in the mood. If you rely on motivation to get things done, you'll only work when you feel like it. And that's exactly why most people never achieve anything meaningful. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't care how you feel. Discipline shows up when motivation is nowhere to be found. Discipline is what builds winners. It is the muscle that grinds through discomfort, pushes through resistance, and executes when the mind tries to negotiate. Most people confuse being motivated with being serious. They get inspired after watching a video, listening to a podcast, or reading a quote online. Their mind floods with ideas, their heart races with ambition, and for a few hours, or maybe even a couple of days, they take action. But then life hits, they get tired, stressed, or bored. Suddenly, that fire starts to fade, and they go right back to their old patterns. That's because they never built discipline. Motivation was their fuel, and when it ran out, they were stranded. Discipline is what keeps you going long after motivation has disappeared. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it. It's getting out of bed early even when you're tired. It's going to the gym when your body says no. It's sitting down to work when your mind wants to relax. Discipline is about keeping promises to yourself. It's about having standards that don't bend based on how you feel. When you say, I'm going to do this, you do it. No negotiation, no delay, no excuses. That's how winners are built. Not in moments of excitement, but in moments of resistance. The truth is, if you only act when you're motivated, you're soft. You're emotional, you're unpredictable. That's why discipline is a non-negotiable trait for anyone who wants to reach the top. Life doesn't care how you feel. Success doesn't wait until you're in the mood. The gym, the business, the studying, the grind, it's always there. The difference between the ones who win and the ones who don't is that the winners show up every single day, regardless of how they feel. Discipline isn't sexy, it doesn't get praised or glamorized, but it's the trait that separates amateurs from professionals, dreamers from doers, and talkers from producers. Most people lie to themselves. They say they want success, but they only want it when it's easy. They want the six-pack, but not the diet. They want the money, but not the grind. They want the result, not the process, but the process is everything. Discipline is the process. It's what keeps you locked in when motivation fades, when progress is slow, when no one's clapping for you. It's what carries you through the boring days, the hard days, and the days where quitting feels easier than pushing forward. People look at disciplined individuals like they're superhuman, but they're not. They just made a decision to stop relying on emotion and start relying on principle. Discipline is a choice. It's a daily decision to do what needs to be done, no matter what. That decision compounds over time. You build habits, you build routines, you start winning more often, and eventually you become the kind of person who simply gets things done. Discipline turns average people into hyper-formers. It creates consistency, and consistency creates momentum, which leads to mastery and success. Discipline also creates freedom. Most people think discipline is restrictive, like it's a prison, but that's only true if you're looking at it through the lens of short-term pleasure. Real freedom is having control over your life. It's being able to choose your path, own your time, and live on your terms. That kind of freedom only comes through discipline. The disciplined person eats well, trains regularly, manages money wisely, and works toward long-term goals. As a result, they have more energy, more opportunities, and more control. The undisciplined person chases comfort, avoids effort, and reacts emotionally. They end up broke, out of shape, and living a life dictated by other people. That's not freedom, that's slavery to impulse. If you want to build discipline, start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire life in one day. Pick one thing and commit to doing it every day, no matter what. Wake up at a set time, make your bed, go for a walk. Do something that builds structure and trains your willpower, then layer in more habits. Track your progress, hold yourself accountable, stop making excuses. And most importantly, don't rely on how you feel. You'll never feel like doing hard things consistently. That's the point. The resistance is what makes you stronger. The more you push through it, the tougher and sharper you become. Eliminate negotiation. Discipline means you remove the option of backing out. If you say you're going to do something, it gets done. Whether you're tired, bored, stressed, or unmotivated is irrelevant. You do it because it's who you are, not because you feel like it. That shift from conditional action to identity-based action is the game changer. When discipline becomes part of your identity, you stop needing motivation altogether. You just operate like a machine, like a professional. Life is always going to test you. There will be days when nothing goes right, when you feel alone, when progress feels invisible, when your goals seem out of reach. Those are the days that count the most. Anyone can be productive when they feel good. The real test is what you do when everything sucks. That's where discipline shows its true power. That's when your future is being shaped, when you're grinding in silence, when no one is watching, when no praise is being given. That's when you separate yourself. Don't chase motivation, chase mastery. Chase structure, chase execution. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark fades. If you're tired of starting over, build discipline so you don't have to. If you're tired of falling off, develop the mental toughness to stay on track. Your results will never come from how pumped you were one day. They will come from what you did every day, regardless of how you felt. That's the difference between people who wish and people who win. Discipline is the ultimate advantage in a world that runs on distraction, weakness, and emotional chaos. While others wait to be inspired, you act. While others look for hacks, you build consistency. While others seek comfort, you embrace discomfort and grow stronger through it. That's how success is built, not through hype, not through hypebeast motivation videos, but through quiet, relentless discipline. In the end, motivation is nice, but discipline is non-negotiable. It's the muscle you build through repetition, through doing the work even when you're uninspired. If you want the life most people never have, you must do what most people never will. Choose discipline over motivation every single time, and you'll never need to rely on feelings to move forward again. You'll become unstoppable. Most people think too small. They aim for survival, not domination. They want just enough to be comfortable, not enough to be free, and that mindset alone keeps them broke, average, and invisible. If you want to win in this life, truly win, you have to think big, not mildly big. Not hopeful big. You have to think so big it scares small minds. You have to see yourself doing things most people wouldn't even dare to imagine. Thinking big is not arrogance. It's clarity. It's vision. It's understanding that playing small doesn't serve anyone, it doesn't help your family, it doesn't change your life, and it definitely doesn't build wealth. But big thinking alone isn't enough. You need leverage. Leverage is what multiplies your effort, your reach, your power. Without it, you can be the hardest worker in the room and still lose to someone who's smarter about how they scale their time, influence, and output. Leverage is how you break free from the trap of trading hours for dollars. It's how you escape the 9 to 5 grind. It's how you go from making a few thousand a month to making hundreds of thousands or millions a year. In a world full of tools, systems, people, and technology, the individual who knows how to use leverage will always beat the one who tries to do everything alone. Thinking big means you're not trying to make an extra $200 this month. You're building something that can print money while you sleep. You're not starting a side hustle for pocket change. You're creating a business with global impact. You're not just aiming to pay your bills. You're positioning yourself to buy back your time, your freedom, and your life. But to do that, you need to stop playing the solo game. You need to tap into leverage. There are 4 major types of leverage you can use: code, capital, content, and people. The first is code. In simple terms, software. Automations, technology that works 24/7 without needing to sleep, eat, or complain. If you can build or use software to replace manual tasks, you instantly multiply your productivity. One good line of code can do the work of 1,000 people. That's why the tech world creates billionaires, because they build once and scale infinitely. Second, capital. Money is a powerful form of leverage. You can use it to buy time, talent, tools, or attention. With money, you don't have to learn every skill yourself. You pay experts. You don't need to grind 16 hours a day. You buy systems that work for you. You invest and get returns while you sleep. But here's the key: you must think big enough to attract capital. Nobody wants to fund a small idea. Capital chases scale. It follows people who think boldly and act strategically. Third is content. This is one of the most overlooked forms of leverage today. A single video, post, or piece of writing can reach millions of people in minutes. Content scales attention, influence, and trust. It sells for you, educates for you, builds brand equity that pays off forever. That's why personal brands are exploding right now. One well-executed video can generate clients, followers, customers, and opportunities for years. If you're not using content, you're invisible. You're shouting into the void. Learn how to communicate and distribute your message at scale, or you'll get left behind. And finally, people, human leverage. The ability to build teams, delegate, and multiply your output through others. The greatest leaders and entrepreneurs in the world don't do everything themselves. They build systems, then empower people to run them. You don't grow by being the most talented. You grow by building networks of talent. You hire smarter people. You partner. You delegate. You manage attention, not every single task. People who refuse to let go of control stay small forever. You must learn to trust, lead, and multiply your vision through others. Here's the thing. Most people never use any of these types of leverage. They trade time for money. They work harder, not smarter. They stay stuck in the middle class, grinding endlessly because they don't zoom out and think bigger. They don't build systems, use tools, or develop a team. They're afraid to invest, afraid to delegate, afraid to risk. And so, they stay trapped. They might be busy, even successful by some standards, but they'll never be wealthy because they never used leverage. Big thinkers ask different questions. Instead of, how can I do this faster? They ask, how can I eliminate this altogether? Instead of, how can I make an extra $500 a month? They ask, how can I build something that generates $50,000 a month while I sleep? Instead of doing everything manually, they ask, what systems can I create to automate and scale this? They don't obsess over doing more. They obsess over building machines that do more without them. Big thinkers also understand risk differently. To them, the real risk isn't trying and failing. It's wasting years playing small. It's never using your potential. It's looking back in 10 years and realizing you built nothing meaningful. They're not reckless, but they're bold. They take calculated risks. They make moves. They understand that growth requires discomfort, investment, and courage. When you combine big thinking with leverage, everything changes. You stop being a worker and start being a builder. You stop chasing money and start attracting it. You stop feeling overwhelmed because you've built systems and teams that carry the load. You have more time, more impact, and more control. You're no longer stuck in the weeds. You're above the game, directing it. But none of this happens by accident. You have to be intentional. You have to choose to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. Owners build systems. Employees execute them. Owners use leverage. Employees provide leverage for others. If you want to win, you have to switch sides. It starts with a decision, a mindset shift. An internal command that you're done playing small and you're ready to operate like a strategist, not a pawn. Thinking big also means surrounding yourself with other big thinkers. Small minds will suffocate your vision. They'll tell you to be realistic, to slow down, to stay safe. Cut that noise out. Your circle should challenge you, push you, force you to level up. You need people who talk in millions, not hundreds. People who build, not complain. People who execute, not dream. That energy is contagious, and when you're around it, you start to rise to the standard. The world is moving fast. AI, automation, the digital economy, all of it is creating leverage like never before. One person with a laptop, a vision, and discipline can outpace an entire company. There's never been a better time to think big, act bold, and use the tools at your disposal to create real wealth. But it starts with rejecting the small-minded labor for money script we've been sold since childhood. It starts with choosing to play a bigger game. Stop thinking about survival. Start thinking about scale. Build systems. Use leverage. Move with intention. You weren't born to be average. You weren't built to just get by. You were built to dominate. If you're willing to think big and use every tool at your disposal to make it happen,